Nuuspot. Onbevange, onbegrens, onbevooroordeel.
Goeiedag, baie welkom by Nuuspot en ek het vandag in ons virtuele ateljee het ek vir Chris Pappas, hy is die burgemeester van uMngeni munisipaliteit, nadat die DA die munisipaliteit in November verlede jaar se munisipale verkiesings afgeneem het by die ANC. En sedertdien werk Chris onverpoos om die munisipaliteit weer aan die gang te kry, maar in die proses volgens berigte kry, maar baie teenstand en ons gaan 'n bietjie met hom gesels daaroor vandag. Chris, welcome to Nuuspot. Thank you very much for making time for us.
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, yeah, so it's been an ANC municipality since local government started. This has never been an IFP municipality. And slowly over the years, we've reduced their majority to a point where we won the municipality by 42 votes, and we have an outright majority here. You're correct. It's not easy. I keep telling people this is the land of Jacob Zuma, the land of riots, the land of Inkanda and swimming pools. So it's no easy task working in this province. But also there is a desire and a hunger for something different, a desire for progress. And I think for the first time now in KZN, people have a third option. You know, they know what the ANC is like, they know what the IFP is like, and now they can start to see what the DA is like in local government.
Chris, I want to get to the good part as well. But I just want to focus for the first part of this conversation on the problems that there are. Political instability, political violence, and even political murders are at the order of the day. How does this impact the work that you do there in the heart of ANC country?
So yeah, I mean, it's the great thing about the organization that I represent is the institutional knowledge and capacity. You know, so we're not new to government. I can phone up, you know, Mayor Giesi in Stellenbosch or Helen Zille, who was mayor of Cape Town, and they can assist you with problems that you might come along your way. But there's no one who can really give you the type of advice that you look for when you're in government in this province. So, you know, for example, my political party doesn't believe in lots of bodyguards and, you know, high protection and all of those sorts of things. But in this province, that becomes reality. When you literally are in a province where hitman is the order of the day, and that's what they do. And we had the Morane Commission, we have political killings here more than any other province. So in those senses, you're also crafting a new set of a new, you know, sort of handbook for government in a completely different province. But also, if you try and do what your opponents have been doing better, then you're going to fail. You have to systematically work in a new system of government, a new culture of government, so that slowly that trickles down into your administration and even into communities, so that communities don't believe you're taking a failed system of government, a failed culture of government, and just trying to do it better. You're actually bringing something new. You're actually bringing a different perspective on how the relationship between government and the people and the people work, but also how internally how the government works as well. I just actually had now the head of my traffic department and his manager, and we were speaking about performance management. You know, and whereas in the past you have a situation where, you know, a cashier and whoever else it might be, you were given their name and you said you must appoint this person, and they would have to do that, otherwise their jobs and their lives were at stake. Now we're finding out, I'm saying I don't really care who they are or what their political affiliation is, I just want them to do the job. And because we're putting that system of performance based governments in place, all these cadres who are being deployed are sitting in a bit of a conundrum because they can't actually do the work. So it's those sorts of mindset shifts that I think are the most difficult and take the most effort. Human behavior is the hardest thing to change. You know, you can fix the finances and you can fix the potholes, but human behavior and human culture is the most difficult thing to change.
Chris, I've read the article on BizNews where they made mention of you and that you have to reshuffle your schedule in order to keep safe. Is that true?
Yes, it is true. I don't, I sleep in different places. I change my bodyguards. I change my patterns. I can't go to the gym at the same time. I can't, all those sorts of things. But that's par for the course, I guess, here in KZN. It's not something that I'm comfortable with. It's not, I'm used to walking around in my pluckies and my shorts and going into whatever shop and sitting with my friends after a game of golf or watching the rugby or whatever it might be. Now I can't do those things without being cognizant of the fact that there's always someone that I've made angry out there for taking away a tender or a contract, or because I'm disciplining something or investigating something. And it's not so much the politicians. It's not the ANC or the EFF or it's the contractors, it's the networks, it's the I call it sort of this network of corruption. That's the more dangerous one. Those are the people who have got something bigger to lose.
Chris, you made mention of hitmen. I don't think normal people in the rest of South Africa really understand that. I have been in conversation with Johan Boysen, the former head of the Hawks in KwaZulu-Natal before, and I had many conversations with him where he explained to me how dangerous those hitmen really are.
So when you look at the statistics of political murders in South Africa, by far KZN is the highest. And what I mean by political murders is where you occupy a political position, such as mine. A mayor is an elected position, it is political. And because of whatever reason it might be, either you're involved in corruption and people want to get rid of you, or you're fighting corruption, or you are, whatever the situation might be, you suddenly have a target on your back. Now, there are people out there who specialize because of their history. This is what they've done in killing politicians for money, for whatever the reasons may be. So there are people in KZN, and there's specific regions that are worse than others, that have high concentrations of, in isiZulu you say izinkab, people who are hired to kill people, hitmen for money. And that's what they do. They file off serial numbers on guns. They use stolen weapons. They track you. And it's not just you find someone random on the street, pay them 10,000 rand, and then they come and these are professional people. They are trained. They've grown up in this sort of environment, and they get large sums of money to conduct organized killings.
Yeah, I've heard you can get into your car and the next moment 2-3 men are standing up right in front of your car and they just empty their guns at you. But let's go to the good stuff that you do before we don't get there. And I really want to get onto that as well. At last, you are being able to buy stuff for the municipality, machinery, things that you are getting right. How do you do that? How are you changing that culture that you inherited when you took over there?
So there's still a long way to go. We're not a big metro who has billions of rands to do things at once. We're a small plain municipality in the middle of nowhere, 110,000 people, and 530 odd million rand with the budget, which is very small comparatively to municipalities. I think priorities. We love as local government, in particular this province, to do things that look like we're working. We'll hand out food parcels, or we'll build a hall, or things like that look like we've done something. But the reality is that you're not moving the needle forward. You're not dealing with the fundamental basics of governance. And in dealing with those at a local government level, firstly is to actually be quite strict, and it's not always popular, about what is your mandate. So the Constitution tells me what I should be doing as a local government. I know there's a lot of problems with SAPS and border security and all of these things, but that's not my job. My job is to make sure that the lights stay on because our infrastructure works, that the roads haven't got potholes, that the street signs are readable, that the traffic police work, that you can come and get your license, that your rates clearance certificate doesn't take you 12 years to get. That is my work. So as you slowly start to prioritize your resources away from the things that aren't actually yours to do, and you focus on building institutional capacity, whether it's buying the TLB to fix the dump site or clean dumping sites, whether it is buying the roller that fixes the potholes, whatever it might be. Once you've set those and you have a strong foundation of the basics, then you can start looking at the other things. Then you start looking at, okay, well, this particular guy, Home Affairs is failing. What can we do to help or fix Home Affairs? All those other things that come. But there's this huge expectation on local government, because that's the closest form of government to you, while every other level of government is failing. So mine is to say, I understand those things are failing. At a national level, it's Mr. Ramaphosa's job. At a provincial level, it's Mr. Zigalala's job. Locally, it's my job. And this is what I have the power to do, and I'm going to do it really well. Starting with, and then you prioritize, the finances, the basics, the capacity, the skills, the equipment, whatever it might be in your particular area. But that's the sort of approach that we've taken here, to say we can't fix everything at once. We've got 27 years of broken government. So don't expect the Cape Town waterfront in 6 months, but we know where we want to go and we know how we want to get there.
How important is it working with other parties in the municipality?
It's always important. I mean, so we do have an outright majority, which makes it easier, because you don't have to get broad consensus on issues that might be contentious. But nonetheless, you don't also want to be a dictator. You want to get broad perspective. People are elected to represent different communities, and different interest groups have different visions or inputs that they want to make into governance. So it is important to work with other political parties. But in the same breath, those political parties must also not be obstructive. I jokingly said to the ANC right at the beginning of the tenure, because they're not used to being opposition. They've always been in government here. So I said, they made some ridiculous comments without understanding what they were saying. I said, if you really want a lesson in how to be opposition, phone me, I'll sit down and I'll teach you. Because you need a good opposition, but you also need a constructive opposition. You need people who are going to make inputs. People who are going to keep you on your toes. People who are going to make sure that you're doing your work. But if your sole existence as a different political party is just to destabilize or be destructive, then it really doesn't serve the purpose of democracy or governance.
Chris Pappas, Mayor of the uMngeni municipality, thank you very much for making time for us. All the best there, and good luck with your work. We are keeping an eye on you, and it's looking good, Chris. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zak. I appreciate it.
Nuuspot. Onbevange, onbegrens, onbevooroordeel.